Well, tech, AI, back in the spotlight again. We have the Apple event tonight, the launch of Microsoft's 360 Copilot later this week. That's in addition to all the things that we've been seeing from big tech overall. So we had Fred Havemeyer with us, Senior Enterprise Software Analyst at Macquarie. Thank you for being with us. So there was such an AI revolution. Everybody wanted to invest in AI. Then they sort of took a break and tech came out of favor. What are we seeing now? I mean, what kind of things are you watching for between now and the end of the year? Is there still a lot of excitement?
I think the excitement absolutely has not abated. It's one of the most consistent topics that we're talking about and remains completely top of mind. I think at this point, though, we're deep into the hype cycle and many are asking, is this material or is this just hype? So what we're watching for and will continue to watch for is whether or not generative AI applications are generating revenue and whether they're generating profit. So I think that's one of the most important things that we saw coming out of big tech earnings last week is that we are seeing material revenue already being generated by generative AI related applications and workloads. As we estimated about $3 billion in run rate revenue between both OpenAI and also Microsoft at this point in time. So with Microsoft 365 Copilot set to go general availability for enterprises this Wednesday, we're really quite excited about what the next year is going to look like from a monetization perspective.
So at this point now, I mean, do you feel that AI has already helped the bottom line for companies, or are you still waiting to see? You did say there's a wait and see, but are there some companies that are already saying we're seeing a real shift in a good way?
I think right now we're already seeing companies beginning to say that it's hitting the top line. The bottom line, we're waiting to get more information about. I think the early indication is that it has not been impacting margins negatively so far from companies that are reporting material growth tailwinds from generative AI. That said, what we're also seeing is a big push from some of these companies to optimize their AI workloads from silicon all the way up to the software layer. And we think that over time, that likely is going to be a perspective many companies take. So we're still gathering a lot of data. We're very optimistic about how companies can drive efficiency, but we're still waiting for those data points that will be able to tell us just how profitable can these generative AI applications be. Certainly it's driving top-line results, and we think as we go into the balance of the year that we'll see more and more indications of this across much of technology, but certainly with a lot more in 2024, given that we're just barely now beginning to see signs of companies really rolling out production-ready, productized generative AI applications with pricing behind them, with much more to come in 2024.
Yeah, and I think that people that are fully immersed with AI are looking at the vertical integration. There's all different levels of what people know about AI. What are some of the people, I won't say the smartest, but the people who are most well-versed when it comes to AI? What are they focusing on? I mean, we want to be in the know too.
Oh, I'm asking everybody about this, practitioners, executives, hackers, and I think that what I found is that there is no pure consensus just yet. I think it depends on the practitioners you're speaking to, but generally what we see here is that the approach is we consistently see model training continues to be done on NVIDIA hardware, with some pushing towards trying to use AMD hardware for the training portion. There's a lot of emphasis now on optimizing the inference component and usage of models. Inference being when you ask models to make predictions, or in the case if you're using ChatGPT, to respond to your queries. So there's a lot of optimization going on there, and a lot of emphasis right now on also producing mission-specific and workload-specific hardwares. We're seeing more companies talk about developing their own chipsets to be able to run AI models. That goes back to our point of optimizing and vertically integrating from silicon to software. So I think the jury's still out. There are many debates in this market, and I've been happy to come on to your show consistently here throughout this year to talk about generative AI because the landscape keeps on changing. I think we're continuing to see an almost unprecedented rate of innovation among the generative AI landscape. And I would expect that if we have this conversation again in just a couple of months, we'll have new topics to talk about, new techniques, new optimizations, and many more exciting things to discuss.
Yeah, it's interesting you talked about inference because we actually saw that with the kids when they used to test the kids for all kinds of things, whether they were good at mathematics or, I've seen it throughout all the years, my nieces, my own kids, my nieces, my nephews. And that's actually a skill in itself to say, well, why might they be wearing jackets today? It seems so simple, but AI has to learn why the people may be wearing jackets in the park today. It's almost crazy. You mentioned NVIDIA as being part of the hardware that they're using for the model training, some AMD. Does that mean that AMD is picking up in a good way, in a significant way that you're noticing?
I have to say that I have only picked up on this from practitioners that are trying to understand whether AMD hardware can be used for broader sets of training workloads. Presently, right now, if you're building an AI model and you're doing the training layer, typically you're going to be running that on an NVIDIA stack. There's been more emphasis among practitioners to try to build out software stacks that can train on AMD hardware, but I don't have any signs or anything, unfortunately, to talk about here that can indicate a trend, except that there's generally quite a bit of interest in and among AI practitioners in diversifying the amount of hardware, the types of hardware that one can use to train up generative AI and other AI workloads. Because at the end of the day, you want to have access to the broadest set of hardware possible to be able to both train and also run all of these AI workloads.
I do want to do like a back and forth quick run on each one
Absolutely.
of the names, but before I do that, do you have buy ratings or strong buy ratings on any names based on their AI capabilities?
Yeah,
Or
so
just in
Microsoft is our
general that you want
top
to tell us
generative
about?
AI pick here. Oh, apologies. Microsoft is our top AI pick, generative AI pick here. We think this company is best positioned to be able to both monetize and also deliver AI functionality at scale. Clearly, we think that they're one of the largest winners here. And what we were particularly impressed by was the Azure generative AI related services revenue contributing about 3 points of growth in the past quarter, up about almost 3 times quarter on quarter in terms of contribution. Just really impressive growth from our point of view. After that, MongoDB, from a database perspective, one of our top picks in the generative AI space. And then from a cybersecurity perspective, we think CrowdStrike is the right stock to be picking and be buying if you want exposure to generative AI trends and the intersection of cybersecurity trends.
Oh, thank you for all of those. Really exciting. Good to see you. Fred Havemeyer, always love having you on the show. Thank you very, very much. Come back soon. It just doesn't stop, so we have to have him over and over again, keep giving us the very latest. Thank you so much.